Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice. We're here in Point Judith and we're with Meghan Lapp of Seafreeze Limited.
And Seafreeze Shoreside.
And Seafreeze Shoreside. And today we're going to show you a little bit about our calamari and tell you also what's going on out in the deep blue sea that could potentially affect that. So Meghan, take it away. Tell us, what is Seafreeze? What's going on here?
Alrighty, well, this is Seafreeze Shoreside, our Point Judith facility, and what we do is we unload commercial fishing vessels. We unload their product, some of which we sell fresh if it's whole fish, or what you saw today with squid is we package it, we freeze it, and then we sell it on from there.
And where do you sell it to?
We sell it domestically and globally.
And globally, is the demand bigger than it is domestically, or is it kind of a hodgepodge? It varies.
It's probably a hodgepodge.
Gotcha. And what happened, like we're talking about during COVID when the restaurants shut down? How did that impact your business?
That impacted the commercial fishing industry and shoreside processors very heavily. In the United States, most calamari is consumed in restaurants. Not many people cook calamari at home, so price dropped like a rock. Right. There was not the outlet of markets. It hurt pretty bad.
And do consumers know the difference between wild caught and farm raised as far as their calamari goes?
So with calamari, actually, you can't farm it.
Oh, you can't?
You can't. They do not survive in like tanks and stuff like that. Wow. So calamari is wild caught.
Everywhere.
Yes. Gotcha. Now there are species of squid around the globe. But in the United States, ours is sustainably harvested. We, together with another Rhode Island processor, we achieved MSC certification, which is Marine Stewardship Council certification, where they go into the science and management of a species. And then on the global scale, you're able to tell folks, this is sustainably harvested.
Right.
All U.S. fish is sustainably harvested because that's per federal law.
Gotcha.
But not everybody around the world knows that. But people in this country should know that.
Yeah.
U.S. wild caught is where you want to go.
That's where it's at.
That's where it's at.
And what are some other competitors, countries that also harvest squid?
You can get product from the Pacific, China, India, Japan, Spain, Morocco, all over the world. Argentina, yeah.
Wow. And the way that we came connected was actually through a Providence Journal article, and it was about the wind farms that are continuing to gain speed, especially now. How is that going to affect your business?
So, depending on where 100% of this goes, it could wipe out the commercial fishing industry completely on this coast. To commercially fish, you need two things. You need quota,
yep,
and you need area to fish.
Yep.
Fish are not evenly distributed throughout the ocean. They go to specific places at specific times a year, just kind of like birds, right?
Yeah.
Like birds migrate and there's certain, species that are in certain places and not others. That's how fish are. So a lot of our fishing grounds right now are slated for offshore wind development, unfortunately, and these vessels that harvest calamari, they can't operate in a wind farm. So you lose the area. Right.
How much of this area is being taken away, percentage-wise, roughly? Or do you not really?
It's hard to say, but the particular species of squid that we're processing today, a very good portion of that species, fishing grounds are slated for offshore wind development. It's hard to say percentage-wise, but I can say there's millions of acres up and down the East Coast. There is a conglomerate lease area off of Massachusetts that is bigger than the state of Rhode Island that is slated for offshore wind farms. So, we're not talking about, like a small area like the Black Island Wind Farm Project. Like, it's not small. We're talking thousands of turbines on millions of acres from Cape Cod to North Carolina.
Wow.
And beyond.
And what if you know, type of electricity, is that what these are for, is to generate power for the mainland? Is that what the cost benefit on the government's thought process is? Like, well, we're gonna power X many homes, but we lose this industry? Like, what's their thinking?
Well, they have not done a cost benefit analysis, and that's a very interesting point. They are saying, well, it's only going to impact X amount, but they're not looking at the cumulative impacts of that. As far as the electricity, it's really demand that is being run to a large degree by states. States are setting renewable energy goals. It is expensive electricity. It is not cheap electricity. Folks really want to look at the cost benefit. Your electric bills are going to go up. There's not a benefit cost-wise. They're saying it is quote unquote green and renewable energy, as opposed to, say, here in Rhode Island, most of our electricity comes from natural gas. So they're saying, well, it's cleaner than that, which I would actually argue isn't true. I don't think that there's anything green about industrializing the ocean.
Right.
Taking away millions of acres of prime fish habitat and turning it into an industrial power plant. Like, I don't think that that's green. It is slated to produce this energy, but I think folks, if we look at the lessons that Europe is learning from this, it is intermittent energy. It does not provide it always when you need it. What actually happened in September in the United Kingdom was they have a good portion of their grid now on offshore wind, and the wind didn't blow. So they scrambled to beg any coal, any nuclear, any gas plant to fire up.
Wow.
Because they were about to have a nationwide blackout, and the price of electricity went in Great Britain to 400 pounds sterling per megawatt hour. That's like the equivalent of like $550 per megawatt hour, where in New England, I think our average is about $30 per megawatt, $30.
Wow.
As opposed to like $550, right?
20 times higher.
Like crazy. So, and then they were talking about the potential for energy poverty in the United Kingdom this winter. What happens when people need electric to heat their homes and things like that. So, there is a wider conversation in that sense that is not typically looked at. If you look at electricity production, if you have various fuel plants, you could have nuclear, you could have, gas powered, or you could have, coal or whatever is out there currently. Sometimes plants go offline to have repairs or whatever like that needs, but they don't all go down at once. For wind, it goes all down at once.
Right.
Then what do you do? And that's.
So what is your day-to-day, it seems like you're pushing a big mountain, or you're trying to get up this mountain. What does that look like that you could kind of convey to the viewers, that they would kind of be able to understand that? What's your day-to-day like?
My day-to-day? Every day is different.
Week to week, month to month?
Week to week, month to month. My phone starts going off early in the morning till late at night. I am, in addition to dealing with the federal regulatory agencies on offshore wind, and all of that, I'm still involved here at Seafreeze Shoreside in some of the day-to-day, activities and production, things like that. I'm also an advisor for the Habitat Advisory Panel, Herring Advisory Panel, the Mid-Atlantic Fishery Management Council's Ecosystem Ocean Planning Advisory Panel, and Mackerel Squid Butterfish Advisory Panel, and the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission's Menhaden Advisory Panel.
Wow.
So commercial fishing is highly, highly regulated in the United States. So you have various management bodies that manage either different fisheries or different aspects of different fisheries. I engage at the state level with our Rhode Island DEM folks with state fisheries issues. So actually there was a study done by George Mason University, and it showed the top 10 most regulated industries in the country. Fishing was number 7. We're more regulated than oil and gas extraction, more regulated than pharmaceutical manufacturing.
Wow.
So the amount of regulation that is involved with commercial fishing and the spatial regulations, all kinds of regulations for commercial fishing vessels, it's something that you have to kind of track all the time. So that is constantly ongoing throughout my day. With various things. We're also involved in different science initiatives, contributing towards science and being involved with science to make fisheries management the best that it can be. And then there's also obviously the production side of things. So there's a lot going on. Every day is a little different.
Wow.
Every day is a little bit different. But
how many people text and call and emailing you on a daily basis, roughly?
I couldn't even tell you. It depends on the day, but a lot.
Doesn't stop.
A lot. A lot of the times I say, I'm not ADD, but sometimes this job makes me feel like it. Yeah.
And how did you get into this position? Like college, high school, did you know I want to be in this field, or did it kind of just come upon?
Well, I was always interested in fishing as a kid, commercial fishing. I was always fascinated by it. But typically commercial fishing is a very family-oriented business. People with family members in it, it's usually a generational, right?
Gotcha.
And so I don't come from a generational fishing family, although my dad is a naval architect by trade and had done some stuff, designing fishing vessels and other things. But so I always had an interest in it, but I never really had an open door into it.
Yeah.
I actually have a master's in legal science. And as I was completing my degree, I started to find out, some of the regulatory stuff that was occurring in commercial fishing. So I started to get involved, and kind of through that, I became involved in the fisheries regulatory, field. And I actually worked in New Bedford for a while building commercial fishing nets.
Wow.
I did that, and then I came to work for Seafreeze as their fisheries liaison. And then as I, did that for a number of years, that I became involved down here with management. So it's kind of just all built on kind of keeps going, right?
And where do you envision yourself in 5 years, 10 years? What's the future hold?
Well, I have no idea. No idea.
Nice answer.
It's not very helpful, but
it's good, because you don't know.
Right? No, I don't know.
And that's honest.
Yep.
Wow. And how about folks at home? What's the message that you really want to convey that you're thinking here at your desk all the time? Oh, I wish the public knew this. What is that? Local
food production is coming more and more to the forefront of people's minds. You see a lot of farmers cooperatives. You see people purchasing, fruits and vegetables and meats and, from local farmers, which is really good. And I would say, in that same way, to support the commercial fishing industry, your local commercial fishing industry, when you're, at a restaurant or in a fish market, ask them what is U.S. wild caught. U.S. wild caught fish products are the most pure form of protein you can get. And they're the most sustainably managed in the world. And by doing that, you're supporting all those guys who are out there, risking their lives to bring you food on a regular basis. So I would say demand it. When I was a kid, there was no such thing as organic food in supermarkets, but people demanded it. Yeah. So it became a thing. So if the public says, hey, I want to know what's U.S. wild caught, that can help, drive demand in a positive manner.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And if anybody has any questions for you, what do they do? Email, write you a letter, carry
Absolutely.
your vision?
They can email me, Meghan at seafreezeltd.com.
Awesome. We'll put that up on the screen. And if you have any questions for me, which I don't know why you would, but put them in the comments section below. I'll get right back to you. Once again, Greg Rice here with Meghan Lapp. Great job.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you so much.